The Alabama Farmers Federation and the Alabama Farmers Cooperative proudly present Simply Southern with your hosts Jim Allen and Mary Johnson.
Good morning and welcome to Simply Southern. I'm Jim Allen.
And I'm Mary Johnson. Coming up on today's show, we'll visit a South Alabama community garden that's giving hope in the fight against hunger.
This goes to the Elba Food Bank. It's our community food bank. They open Thursdays at 9 a.m. We've served over 16,000 people since its genesis.
And a Baldwin County organization is building new foundations for boys who come from difficult circumstances.
You know, there's a big misconception about the Sheriff's Boys Ranch that we take adjudicated kids or bad kids, and that's far from the case. We take kids that need a home.
Plus, Sydney Phelps with Bonnie Plants is in with tips to keep your tomatoes producing throughout the entire growing season.
But to get us started, one of the state's hottest musical acts is paid tribute. We're traveling to Tuskegee to visit the Commodores Museum, next on Simply Southern.
There's no such thing as downtime when you own a farm. This is your land. You tend it and try to get the most from it, no matter the weather or time of day. It's been that way for generations. And for generations, your local quality co-op store has been there for you, with a full range of agriculture supplies and services, from feed to fertilizer, seed to grain storage, and the right hardware for any application. You'll always find what you need, plus friendly, knowledgeable advice at your local quality co-op store. There's one near you.
The blessing of Alabama agriculture is more than 3 meals a day. It means independence from foreign nations, freedom to pursue other jobs and activities, conservation of natural resources, and preservation of family values. For 93 years, the Alabama Farmers Federation has brought together the men and women whose work fills our plates and fuels the American dream.
Today's farming operation is more complex than ever before, with precision agriculture becoming an integral piece to farm management. AccuField provides precision agriculture technologies and site-specific management capabilities in a simplified and interactive format, helping you put all the pieces of the farming puzzle together. For more information, visit us at www.accufield.com.
Carl and Jan were camping with their family.
Hey, sweetie, do you mind if I get your wallet? I'm going to run down and get some hot dogs for dinner.
You know we're going to catch dinner, right?
Yes, yes I do. Okay.
Jan lost his wallet at the store. There was no ID in it, but the guy who found it found my business card and called me. I liked saving them money, but I loved helping them save their vacation. It was a good call.
For service and savings, call Alpha.
Tartar sauce, hon?
Yes! Yes!
From the research and invention of George Washington Carver to the trailblazing airman that bear its name, Tuskegee has seen its share of history, some of it with a beat you can dance to. This week we visit with a man who's memorializing the career of some pretty well-known hometown hitmakers, the Commodores. This brick house was once home to some of the most famous music ever to emerge from Alabama. You know, a lot of people will know the songs if they hear them, but they don't know the band. Who were the Commodores?
Okay, the Commodores were, the lead singer was Lionel Richie.
Okay.
The bass player was Ron LaPrade. The lead guitar player was Thomas McClary. The keyboard player was Marlon Williams. The drummer was Walter Clyde Orange. And the William King was like the all-around person. He played different instruments and he was the band leader. So those were the 6 Commodores. And they were 6 super guys.
Through the 70s and 80s, the Commodores were a mainstay across airwaves and dance floors across the world. New York and LA was where the music business lived, but for these Tuskegee natives, the Commodores' headquarters for many years was within these walls.
They had an office in New York, and they had one in California, but they lived here, so they knew they needed a place where they could just leave the house, jump in their car, drive a few miles, and come inside and work. And they didn't have to get on a plane and go anywhere. They used this building to fine-tune everything they needed to do, from routines to singing to performing, everything that it took, they worked the whole show out right here in this building, right here on this stage.
Several departures through the 80s, including key songwriter Lionel Richie, slowed the band's momentum, and the Tuskegee studio was eventually abandoned.
When they broke up, this place probably was the last thing on their mind. You know, they probably didn't even realize when they sold this building that this much stuff was in it, or it just didn't matter at the time. But luckily, I was fortunate enough to ride by the building and find a for sale sign in the window.
Johnny Bailey was the bodyguard for the Commodores during their prime years. More than 15 years ago, he purchased the building, discovering a treasure trove of instruments, costumes, and equipment the band left behind. While he initially tried to rent the building out, plans to honor his friend's legacy were already forming.
Something kept telling me, nothing's going to work in this building unless you do a museum. Everybody I talked about it, they didn't feel the passion I felt. They didn't see it because there was nothing really set up to see. So I just kept talking and talking and talking, and I realized that you're going to have to start doing something in here to let people see it. So I started just hanging pictures on the wall. And so I didn't have but a few on the wall, but I would bring people in, they would take a look at the pictures and they said, oh, okay, all right, maybe, you know. So I just kept going and going and going, and it took like 15 years to get it where it is now, where people come in and say, wow, this is really nice.
This summer, the Commodores Museum opened to the public, bringing the sights and sounds of these Alabama music legends back to their hometown. You've been open a few months now. What's the reaction been?
We had a couple called and said, I understand that you had your grand opening today. I said, yes, we did. They said if I had known, me and my wife would have flew in from New York for the grand opening. I thought he was just pulling my leg. But the next week, he called and said, look, we on our way. I want everybody to come in and feel at home. It's the same way the Commodores wanted when they were here. They wanted you to feel at home when you were up front. Or if you got a chance to come back here, they didn't want anybody mistreated. They wanted everybody to be treated like a fan and family. Yeah. And that's the way we're doing it here.
When we asked Johnny about the possibility of a reunion, he felt it was as close as it's ever been, possibly in part due to the opening of their new museum.
Now, funny tidbit about the Commodores, you know, they say they got their name by just opening a dictionary and pointing to a word. So they were this close to being called the Commodes.
Oh, that would have flushed their career.
Yes, it definitely would have.
Coming up next, a ranch in South Alabama is giving boys from troubled beginnings the tools for a better future.
And later, see how a community is giving back with gardening.
Alabama soybean farmers help fuel the state's economy. Soybeans are used to make clean, renewable biodiesel and are a key ingredient in feed for poultry, catfish, and livestock. Soybeans are used in dozens of products we use every day. But best of all, soybean farmers generate $258 million and more than 4,000 jobs for Alabama's economy, all while helping conserve our natural resources. Explore the power of soy.
We believe a plant should be more than a plant. This one is. It's all you need for your garden to succeed. Because it's a Bonnie plant. It represents hundreds of varieties of Bonnie's quality veggies and herbs. But more, it's from generations of Bonnie people who are passionate about sharing their love of gardening with you. Look for this little Bonnie plant and a whole family of plants like it in your garden center. Bonnie plants, so you'll know how to grow.
Support healthy food from local farmers by purchasing a Farming Feeds Alabama license plate. The tag funds education and promotion efforts, including Ag in the Classroom, agricultural scholarships, and youth programs. Get your Ag tag today.
Alabama wheat and feed grain farmers grow food, fuel, and freedom. Their harvest helps feed Alabama's multi-million-dollar livestock, catfish, and poultry industries, while reducing America's dependence on foreign countries for energy and food. By combining their strength with farmers of other commodities, feed grain growers are fueling the economic growth of Alabama communities.
Brought to you by the Alabama Beef Checkoff Program. Fire up the grills. Beef, it's what's for dinner.
Many of the lessons that make up our lives begin in childhood, but for some children, a difficult start can lead to an uncertain future. This week, Samantha Carpenter visits the Alabama Sheriff's Boys Ranch in Baldwin County, where hard luck youth are built into men.
It's easier to build boys than to repair men, and that's exactly what the Alabama Sheriff's Boys Ranch here in Baldwin County is about, teaching young boys about hard work and family values.
First started in 1966, the Boys and Girls Ranches of Alabama have been home for more than 3,000 children coming from difficult situations. Jim Harmon is the Ranch Life Director for the Alabama Sheriff's Boys Ranch in Baldwin County, one of 4 throughout the state.
The ranch is a residential child care facility, and we can house up to 14 boys here on our ranch. We take children that come from unfortunate circumstances, no fault of their own. You know, there's a big misconception about the Sheriff's Boys Ranch that we take adjudicated kids or bad kids, and that's far from the case. We take kids that need a home.
The ranch creates a stable environment for these children. The boys live with house parents who treat them as if they were their own. They attend public school, go to church regularly, and are expected to contribute to the daily upkeep of their household.
I've never seen a kid that knew how to make their own bed up. That's one of the simplest things I think in life is getting in there and making up a bed. By the time they leave, they can make up a bed.
We just want them to grow up into young men that knows how to be a dad, knows how to take care of things that have to be taken care of, and teach their children how to be that way so their kids don't end up in the same situation that they came up in.
Besides household chores, the boys get a taste of the work that comes with life on a ranch. Under supervised conditions, they mow grass, work in a garden, and even participate in the upkeep of the ranch's population of livestock.
The work ethics and the responsibility they can learn from farm life outweighs anything else we can teach them. When they have to get up and they have to go work and see a calf being born, work with the horses, and our garden helps us with, in the house with the food. But our farm program, I think, is essential more so to use it not to make money, but to teach values and work ethics.
When the day's work is done, the children enjoy free time swimming, fishing, playing sports, or a myriad of other activities available on the ranch. Education is a priority for these boys, with assistance available for those interested in going on to college. Of the children who have come through the ranch program, organizers say the success stories are numerous.
Stephen came to us when he was about 14 years old. We took him down to our big walk-in freezer, which is about 20 by walk-in freezer, and there was food. He said, I'm going to have food. He's working offshore now, has a family with 3 children, and Stephen, I tell you, the ranch taught me how to work. That's why I can hold down a job.
The obvious impact the ranch has on these children has generated a great deal of support in the local community, which is reflected not only in the generous donations throughout the campus, but the smiles of these boys that have been given a chance.
The people in Baldwin County are so generous. You know, they believe in what we're doing. If you can get a person to believe in what you're doing and see the results, see the end results, you know, that makes it worthwhile.
You can just kind of take a walk through time when the ranch was established up to where we're at right now and see a total difference, and it's all because of good people giving sacrifices, giving of themselves so that young men could have a chance at a better life.
The ranch continues to hold a place in the hearts of many of its former residents. One of the house pops told us that some have even been married at the chapel there.
You know, there are 2 boys ranches and 2 girls ranches in the state, and they really serve their community as well.
They do. Those children become very well-rounded adults. When we return, a community is coming together in a project to bring fresh food to the hungry.
For nearly 50 years, the electric cooperatives of Alabama have been giving young people an opportunity to visit our nation's capital, where they learn about the value of electric cooperatives and the importance of grassroots advocacy. Top students join with thousands of others touring monuments, landmarks, and meeting with their congressional delegation. The Rural Electric Youth Tour program. Just one more way the electric cooperatives of Alabama are investing in the future of our state.
Support healthy food from local farmers by purchasing a Farming Feeds Alabama license plate. The tag funds education and promotion efforts, including Ag in the Classroom, agricultural scholarships, and youth programs. Get your Ag tag today.
Brought to you by the Alabama Beef Checkoff Program. Fire up the grills. Beef, it's what's for dinner.
Alabama wheat and feed grain farmers grow food, fuel, and freedom. Their harvest helps feed Alabama's multi-million-dollar livestock, catfish, and poultry industries while reducing America's dependence on foreign countries for energy and food. By combining their strength with farmers of other commodities, feed grain growers are fueling the economic growth of Alabama communities.
Alabama soybean farmers help fuel the state's economy. Soybeans are used to make clean, renewable biodiesel and are a key ingredient in feed for poultry, catfish, and livestock. Soybeans are used in dozens of products we use every day. But best of all, soybean farmers generate $258 million and more than 4,000 jobs for Alabama's economy, all while helping conserve our natural resources. Explore the power of soy.
Hunger is a worldwide issue affecting urban and rural areas alike. In the small town of Elba, community members are getting down in the dirt to fight this ongoing problem, growing fresh food to feed those in need.
The levee in Elba protects the small southeast Alabama town from being flooded by the Pea River. But at the base of the embankment is a project that benefits the neediest members of their community.
At the food bank, they have a joke that you can always find a lot of water chestnuts in the pantry of every can of water chestnuts, but actual, fresh produce is rare in a food pantry or food bank.
The Giving Garden was constructed and planted for the first time last fall with the goal of providing fresh produce to the local food bank.
We get kale, we get peppers, many different items, and they're brought up and they're fresh. She brings them up right at 9 o'clock, so that's what we have there.
The Elba Food Bank is a joint project of 5 area churches. Each week, about 150 needy families of the community receive a 4 to 5 day supply of food. But it's only open 1 day a week, and a family can only get food once every 45 days.
It's a lot of volunteer work. We come Thursday mornings around 7:30 and harvest the vegetables. And we've had a lot of help from the high school students. Really, our major sweat work comes on the planting days when we've got to get all this soil in and get all the plants in.
Of course, fresh vegetables are primarily a treat for the warm weather months, but thanks to a grant from the Wiregrass Resource Conservation and Development Council, Elba's neediest citizens have access to delicious, nutritious food almost year-round.
So we felt it was an excellent opportunity to work with communities like this, to put in a vegetable garden that you can grow year-round. Now, we out here in the middle of the heat right now in July. The best time and the best use of them is used during the wintertime. It's structured so it can extend the growing season for most farmers.
Tuskegee University plant science professor Victor Kahn actually developed the design and criteria for using the tunnel house. He says sunlight gets trapped inside the house and provides the warmth needed for plants to grow in colder months.
Now you want that warmth when the outside temperature drops in the fall, because temperature is the key to growing crops in the winter time. So the tunnel house will keep the soil temperature at about between 65 and 69 degrees Fahrenheit. And the threshold for growing crops is 55 degrees Fahrenheit. So you have an extra 10 degrees more, keep the soil warm so the roots and the microbes can thrive in the soil.
Other groups have donated money and labor to get the garden going. Many of the raised beds bear the name of their benefactors. Cooper says the Giving Garden is just one part of a larger project designed to benefit the area.
It falls under the umbrella of Restoration 154, which is a nonprofit group out of Elba. We are named for the 154 miles of the Pea River, and our goal is to eventually have 154 projects completed that help grow the community.
Cooper says the garden will expand next year when a fruit orchard is planted, and they hope to build another tunnel house and plant additional row crops. She says the Giving Garden has not only given to the community, it's given a lot to her personally as well.
I think it's that you can actually see the tangible fruits, or in this case vegetables, of our labor. You know, it's something that you can see the good you're doing, and that's pretty cool.
For Simply Southern, I'm Kevin Worthington.
For more information on Elba's Giving Garden, you can visit them on the web at givinggardenelba.com.
You know, it's incredible how that community has gotten together to do that, and other communities could do the same. They just need to go see what they've done.
It's true. It really could be an example for other cities across the state. After the break, Sydney Phelps of Bonnie Plants will be in with advice on how to get the best from your tomato plants as the growing season winds down.
This seems unbelievable, but I promise it's true.
What's with the buzzer? Oh, that's a raven. That's a good omen. He knows we're coming back with dinner.
Well, that bird had a bunch of friends. And when Scott got back to the camper...
Well, that was a bust! What? Scott! Wait, what did you do? It's raining inside.
His new camper was a total loss, but his Alpha policy covered it.
It's that bird.
For service and savings, call Alpha.
Making sure you're covered?
Good call.
What one thing can you say about your local quality co-op store? You can trust us. You get what you need for your farm, for your lawn and garden, and the safest products for your pets. We're locally owned and operated, and you can trust that we care about our community and the people in it. So if you're a raised bed gardener, a rose gardener, or if you farm hundreds of acres, the Quality Co-op Store has exactly what you need to get the job done. All this plus friendly, knowledgeable advice. Your Quality Co-op Store. There's one near you.
It's been said, without hard work, nothing grows but weeds. This is certainly true in agriculture. At the Alabama Farmers Federation, we know success is not born of fancy words, grand ideas, or good intentions. It's a result of wise planning, bold leadership, dedicated work, and blessings from above.
We believe a plant should be more than a plant. This one is. It's all you need for your garden to succeed. Because it's a Bonnie plant. It represents hundreds of varieties of Bonnie's quality veggies and herbs. But more, it's from generations of Bonnie people who are passionate about sharing their love of gardening with you. Look for this little Bonnie plant and a whole family of plants like it in your garden center. Bonnie plants, so you'll know how to grow.
Hey folks, Sydney Phelps here with Bonnie Plants. Now today I want to talk to you about getting your tomatoes ready for the late season, early fall. We've talked about heat tolerant varieties which produce great throughout the summer and the high temperatures all the way till the fall and even through the fall. But let's talk about the normal varieties like a Bonnie Original, for example. This tomato is just getting back into putting on great green fruit, as you can see here. But we want to make sure that we're going to be able to produce that fruit all the way throughout the fall. Now, one easy way of doing that is using these. Scissors, pruners are going to become your best friend in this process because, as you can see, we've got a lot of old school growth that just needs to be trimmed off. And there's nothing wrong with the plant. It's just gotten sunburned and needs some time to clean up. Another thing is about the frost. You really have to worry about those early season frosts in September and October. So there's a couple of different things you can do by looking at the website. You can build a small cold frame or know how to go through and develop plastic go over the top of these. Now, one thing with plastic, anytime you've got cold weather coming through, you want to make sure that you get the plastic off or whatever cover you've got off before the sun rises. Otherwise, it's going to burn the leaves and could possibly burn the plant. But let's take a look down low here and show you exactly what we're talking about when it comes time to pruning. Now, as you can see here, we've got a plant that's not putting anything on this lower level. Now, this is a side stem. You don't want to take care of a main stem like this right here. That's what's carrying your fruit. That's where the nutrients are going up. We want to get in here, get all of this yellow content out, get down here and pull this right out. So as you can see, these leaves are starting to die out. The more we can get this off, the more nutrients that are going to the fruits. This will make sure that this plant produces the best all the way throughout the fall. Now, to find out more tips about growing and using these in your garden, you can go to bonnieplants.com or to the website or to the mobile app, Homegrown with Bonnie Plants, and check out that in the App Store.
You know, Mary, it's amazing how you can extend your tomato plant's life with just a pair of scissors.
That's all it takes, and that means that we get to enjoy that fresh salsa or fresh tomato sauce for even longer.
Fried green tomatoes.
That too, yep, or tomato sandwiches.
Right.
For more information on how to make your backyard garden successful, visit bonnieplants.com. You can also find out more about the stories we featured today by visiting their individual websites.
If you're planning a trip to Tuskegee to visit the Commodores Museum, be sure to visit them on Facebook by searching Commodores Museum.
To find out more about the wonderful work at the Boys and Girls Ranches of Alabama, their website is boysandgirlsranches.org. And if you'd like more information about donations or volunteer opportunities with the Elba Giving Garden, visit givinggardenelba.com.
And of course, to stay up to date on what we're doing here, be sure to like our Simply Southern Facebook page or visit our website at simplysouthern.tv.net. We hope you'll tune in at the same time next week as we head west to Judson College in Marion, Alabama, home of the Alabama Women's Hall of Fame.
Plus, FFA students in Colbert County come together for what some call the Country Boy Olympics.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of Simply Southern. I'm Jim Allen.
And I'm Mary Johnson. We hope to see you again next week.
Simply Southern is a production of the Alabama Farmers Cooperative and the Alabama Farmers Federation.